A vote thrown out to take money from Norman's police budget now back to the city council. The hearing that could restore the decision.
I'm tracking your freeze for tonight and now your newest severe weather threat this Friday and next week.
And February's winter storm still hitting Oklahoma where it hurts.
The investment in these bulls is substantial.
The cattle industry now dealing with frostbite and infertility.
Live, local, late breaking. This is KOCO 5 News at 10.
Find the defendant guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
We begin tonight as communities across the country react to 3 guilty verdicts for former police officer Derek Chauvin. Good evening to you. I'm Jessica Shambach.
I'm Evan Onstott. 3 weeks of testimony, 10 hours of jury deliberation. That jury unanimous that Chauvin murdered George Floyd during an arrest last summer.
It'll mean change. It's a first step in a long road to recovery.
Crowds across the country gathered to watch the verdict and then celebrate. In fact, you're looking at a live look right now at a memorial for Floyd in Minneapolis at the spot in which he was killed. We're going to have more of that reaction coming up in just a minute.
After 5 months, the Norman City Council is revisiting an issue on their 2021 budget to take away funds from the police department. KOCO's Aaron Bew joining us live tonight from Norman, Aaron, where that decision was just upheld.
Hey, good evening to you guys. Yeah, the budget meeting's actually still going on. You might be able to hear it where you guys are now. But just to break it down for you, this is basically a revote from last year. So if you remember, back in June, the Norman City Council had passed an amendment that was pretty controversial. So that amendment, again, it reallocated $865,000 of police funding to go towards community programs. Well, this sparked quite the lawsuit from the Norman FOP, saying the notice for that budget meeting was worded deceptively. So today they revoted. So far the council has reapproved all 3 budget-related amendments, which is the final 2021 budget item. Now, these amendments decrease the police general fund salaries and will instead put it towards community outreach programs and an internal auditor program, which, again, as you can imagine, the members of the community are pretty split on these topics.
I feel like the police have way too much money to deal with, and I feel like, we can take some of that money to benefit Norman in other areas, like our mental health.
We've seen how this works in other cities, and it doesn't work.
Now, I was speaking to some police officers here today, and they tell me that money was taken out of their funding back in June. It just kind of stayed in its own private fund. It was never touched. But after today, that money will finally be able to be put to use. Reporting live in Norman this evening, Aaron Bew, KOCO 5 News, back to you.
Personally, I would like to see him go away until at least about 20 years, or at least until we can actually reform him and get to a point where he can be a productive member of society.
That right there, local reaction to former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin being found guilty on all 3 counts in the murder trial of George Floyd.
A reaction to the verdict was just about immediate across the country and here at home. Matt Pritchard has more tonight from Washington.
Many lawmakers here say while they're relieved by the verdict, they aren't ready to celebrate just yet, pointing to the work that still lies ahead.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
Former police officer Derek Chauvin guilty on all counts, a verdict many are calling an important first step.
Let me be the first to say, Black lives matter. Yes. Justice matters.
Floyd's death sparked global protest and calls for change after witness video showed Chauvin kneeling on Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes as he was handcuffed on the ground. Now, President Biden spoke with the Floyd family shortly after the verdict.
We're all so relieved.
Following that call with remarks from the White House.
No one should be above the law. And today's verdict sends that message. But it's not enough.
Former President Barack Obama also writing, "We know that true justice is much more than a single verdict in a single trial," comments echoed by leaders in Congress and the Vice President.
This verdict brings us a step closer, and the fact is, we still have work to do.
This was accountability, but it's not yet justice. Justice for us is saving lives.
Others, though, focused on this moment, hoping it pushes the country towards healing.
That's where our system works, and so maybe we can get some closure on this now.
Now, the jury brought back their verdict quickly as closing arguments had wrapped up on Monday, and they only deliberated for about 10 hours. In Washington, I'm Matt Pritchard.
Cell phone video taken by witnesses played a major role in this trial. An Oklahoma City attorney, Ed Blau, says that they likely were the deciding factor in leading Chauvin's fellow officers to testify against him.
Those videos showed something that was totally unjustifiable. And while police officers almost always stick up for themselves as far as themselves and their fellow officers, in this particular case, it was just too egregious.
Blau has worked as both a prosecutor and a defense attorney in his career, and he told me that he was not surprised at the verdict. He called the evidence against Chauvin overwhelming, but because of that evidence, he also describes this case as an outlier, saying most cases involving law enforcement are nowhere near as clear-cut.
Snow spotted in parts of our state today. We actually have some video that was posted. Look at that. This was posted on Oklahoma State Park social media pages. Snow falling at Natural Park State Park. Chief Meteorologist Damon Lane in tonight. Damon, the cold is sticking around until tomorrow, then you're tracking some storm chances.
Yeah, I really just have a very active next couple of days here. But first things first, a freeze tonight. Freeze warning from 1 a.m. until 9 a.m. for the whole state. Some of us already there, though. We just dropped to 30 degrees in El Reno and Okarche. This is always a cold part of the county. Sits a little bit lower, but then down the road in War Acres, 39, Edmond, 39, Moore, Norman, Goldsby, Blanchard, Tuttle, Minko, 39 degrees. Right now, 36 in Garber, Perry, right now 37, Stillwater 37 or 36, and then just a few degrees above the freezing mark in Visay. So we're going to see some cold pockets set up here for sure tonight. As a matter of fact, 28 for El Reno, 32 for Bethany, Moore, and Norman. We're setting a record tonight, and then the threat for severe weather and your newest tornado risk you can now expect to see this Friday coming up. Evan?
All right, Damon, thanks very much. A deadly double shooting reported on the city's northeast side. KOCO first on the scene this afternoon near Northeast 36th and Kelly. Police telling us 2 people were shot. 1 of them died, the other in critical condition. At this time, we do not know if anyone has been arrested.
Abortion restrictions now sitting on Governor Kevin Stitt's desk. The Senate sent him 2 bills to make decisions on. Both bills seek to limit or prevent abortion almost entirely. And one would cause doctors' licenses to be suspended for up to a year if they perform an abortion in most cases. The other would ban abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detectable, which can happen before people know they're pregnant. Governor Kevin Stitt has 5 days, including Sundays, to sign those bills once he gets them. If he does not sign them, they become law automatically and go into effect this November. And new tonight, ensuring no hospital patient is alone regardless of a pandemic. The state Senate passed the No Patient Left Alone Act. It would provide protections for hospital patients and their families during declared health emergencies. It lets any patient designate a visitor with unrestricted visitation. The author of the bill said hospitals could still restrict who comes in and where they go. The bill goes back to the state house for a vote.
Now to your COVID headlines, and this is great. No new coronavirus deaths reported in Oklahoma today. That's according to the CDC. And only 75 new positive cases reported statewide. I cannot remember a number that low in months and months. As for the race to vaccinate, widening now after eligibility opened to those 16 and older. Here's where we stand right now in our state. When you look at the total population, adults and kids, more than 37% of us have gotten at least 1 COVID shot. KOCO's Patrina Azure reporting tonight, health officials are seeing a slowdown.
We've made really great progress at the beginning. 65 and older, about 50%, more than 50% of them are fully vaccinated in Oklahoma County, but we are starting to see a little bit of a slowdown.
A slowdown Molly Fleming with the Oklahoma City County Health Department doesn't want to see continue.
We had about 100 appointments booked this morning at both locations. We also did this at our Southern Oaks location.
500 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine given out at both sites this morning. Tommy Hughes getting his second Pfizer shot today.
I feel great. I'm glad it's over with.
it's been a pain in the butt, really.
After getting the first shot in Mustang.
It was online. Yeah, it was pretty difficult. Because there's a bunch of different places to try to do it, and it was just confusing.
The state reports more than 48% of Oklahoma adults over 18 have had at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and 34% are fully vaccinated. Numbers Fleming wants to see go higher.
We've got all these variants that are happening right now, and the vaccine is safe. The vaccine is, will get you to the other side, will get you protected.
Katrina Adger, KOCO 5 News.
And you can find all of our COVID-related stories, including the latest numbers and vaccine information on the COVID-19 pandemic, right now on our KOCO app.
Two bills aimed at curbing high utility costs due to February's winter storm moving forward at our state capitol today.
Senate Bills 1049 and 1050 allow ratepayers to lower monthly costs and lengthen the period of time that those increased bills could be paid out.
Essentially what this will do is it will allow for us to spread that debt over time, and there will be interest associated with it because it will be through an issuance of bonds. This is the cheapest financing cost option that we could put forward.
Both of those bills passed out of the House today. They now head to the governor's desk.
And the risk for severe weather increasing across the state. The 2 days I'm now most concerned about and the outbreak of storms we have now in the forecast.
And with this freeze, maybe you're pulling some plants in. Maybe you've already planted them. So what do you need to look for to see if those plants tomorrow survived? We'll let you know about that. And frostbitten infertility. Ahead in 2.5 minutes, the impact this year's historic winter storm is having on the cattle industry and what it means for you. Got a heads up for drivers in Edmond. The police department wants to make sure that you are paying attention in a new construction zone. We're talking about the intersection of 33rd and Kelly. We've told you it's narrowed down now to one lane in all directions, but maybe you have not noticed the signs that are up saying drivers cannot turn left. The police department says drivers are still trying to turn left. Crews are working to reconstruct concrete there.
Cattle farmers and producers are still facing issues from February's intense freeze and weather conditions.
It was so cold, KOCO's Aaron Bew found out that all producers now need to get their bulls checked after finding out some were left sterile.
We did everything we knew to do, but we've never dealt with temperatures like this.
Cows are out in the weather. They're not like they can't just go in the house and sit next to the fireplace.
We spoke to a handful of cattle producers and farmers back in February.
Only time's going to tell, and we're praying that everyone stays safe.
Well, those prayers may have been answered, but cattle experts are now finding some farmers are still dealing with issues from the winter.
Fertility issues in bulls that are being tested, getting ready for the breeding season.
Beef cattle veterinarian Rosalind Biggs says basically the bulls got so cold with frostbite, their reproductive systems aren't working.
And so we want to make sure well in advance the investment in these bulls is substantial.
She says all producers need to get their bulls checked before it's too late and can't multiply your herd.
Producers have a lot of money, time, and commitment to these.
Now, officials say consumers won't see too much of a difference at the grocery store, but this could put some small cattle farmers out of business.
We need to make sure that they can do their job, and we need to know that in advance.
Aaron Bew, KOCO 5 News.
Very interesting. Aaron, thank you. You know, Oklahoma home to a wide range of weather, including lightning. And new tonight, data from Finnish company Vaisala lists Oklahoma as the lightning capital of the U.S. That title usually goes to Florida. The company looked at lightning data from 2016 to 2020 and found there were more than 10 million lightning events. They say Oklahoma had an average of 83.4 events, while Florida had 82.8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just barely getting in there
And
for
Damon,
number one.
I mean, yeah, just barely. Evan's all excited. I wish you could see some video of Evan right now.
Let's go.
I love that you guys are so thrilled that we're the lightning capital. But Damon, you say Pottawatomie County sees the most lightning per square mile.
Yeah, in Oklahoma, if you really want to break this down, we actually just updated the weather blog section. We went county by county, but yeah, Pottawatomie County, you see the most lightning per square mile. Number 2, Payne County, and then number 3, Oklahoma County. Cleveland County was a little bit less, but no matter how you look at it, I mean, lightning, thunderstorms, we know that we see it out here, but there you go. Oklahoma is now the leader in lightning across the United States. In the meantime, no lightning tonight. It's the complete opposite. We're talking about a freeze warning from 1 a.m. until 9 a.m.